And I think, do we have time for questions? So,
yeah, we do. Yeah.
So
12 minutes.
if you guys have any questions about my research, you know, how I got into college, where I want to go, what I want to do, anything.
Andrew, you went to, you know, with being someone who went through Centennial as well as TVMSC, you saw a lot of options at both schools.
Mm-hmm.
Along the way, you had decisions which school to take which class from.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
How did you, now looking back, because some of these kids are facing the same decisions, you know? Oh, if I go to TVMSC, it's harder to get an A. If I go to this school, well, some of the kids aren't too excited about being in the class and they're not taking it seriously. What advice would you give them as far as between now and when they enter college for things that will be beneficial to them as far as having options at college?
Oh, certainly. Well, as far as options at college, like I said, AP classes have done wonders for me. Like I said, I went in with 45 credit hours. I went in halfway through with my sophomore year, which is kind of ridiculous. So if I could say one thing, it's take the AP test and get your credit. It doesn't matter what your grade is in high school. It doesn't matter what your GPA is. As long as it's decent, you can go wherever you want, and you can write a good enough personal statement and get decent enough letters of recommendation, you'll be fine. So if you guys are facing the choice between do I take this class at high school or here at TVMSC, do what you think is right, but don't worry about the grade. In my experience, some of my best classes, the classes I've learned from, have been the classes I've gotten the worst grades in. I remember barely scraping by in this one class. I got like a C+ or a B-, but I've never learned anything more in any other class. And that was the rewarding thing. I mean, you guys are all good students. I mean, getting an A, I mean, it feels good, but the novelty wears off after a while, right? But what doesn't wear off is coming out of a class wiser than you were going into it. And I think here at TVMSC, you're actually given a really good opportunity for that to happen. What you have here is you have teachers who are legitimately interested in teaching math and science. And that may be the case at like Centennial or Capital, but there's more of an emphasis here. You know, not only are the teachers more interested, the students are more interested. And that gives you an environment of discovery, an environment of learning that you can't really find any other place. So if you can make it happen, I mean, I totally recommend taking your math and science classes here. But I mean, that being said, I had to make the same choice my junior year. And my junior year, I didn't come back to TVMSC because I had scheduling conflicts. But I came back my senior year and I was able to take some classes here, and I think it was really, really beneficial. Yeah.
What AP science classes did you take in high school?
I think them all. Well, I took biology, physics, chemistry.
Did you do environmental?
I didn't take environmental science, though.
We didn't offer it back then, so.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not sure if that would have gotten me any other credits waived, but definitely biology, chemistry, and physics. Those are good because the worst classes you'll ever take in college are those basic ones, biology 101, chemistry 101. Nobody wants to be there. The professors don't want to teach that class. The students don't want to take the class. So it's kind of a horrible atmosphere, and you really got to hold on to make sure you pass the class because it gets tough. So if you can get those out of the way with AP classes, definitely do it.
Andrew, not wanting to embarrass you or share stuff that maybe not their business. Andrew is truly a brilliant young man, incredibly brilliant. Have you reached a point where you've needed to study?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that came. My freshman year, you know, I figured I didn't need to do much work in high school, you know. College, I was taking college level classes in high school. Is college going to be any different? And it's not so much that my freshman year of high school was hard, but there's just, you need to be prepared for the test. And my first quarter of freshman year, I wasn't prepared for the test. You know, I'd show up to the lectures, oh, I got this, whatever. And then, you know, come the midterm, come the final, I just kind of show up like, oh, maybe I don't got this. Like, it's not that it's tougher. It's not that I needed to study because I didn't understand something. I needed to study because I really needed to get a better grasp of it. So I mean, if you don't study now, it's okay. But expect to pick up those study habits in college. Yeah.
Why did you choose LISRS for your career?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So LISRS is it's a protein that HIV uses during the assembly phase of replication. So it's kind of a good anchor point. What LISRS does is it interacts with tRNA lyse, which HIV uses as the primer for reverse transcription. So when HIV is packaging new viruses, it actually needs to hijack tRNA from the host cell. And it does so by interacting with LISRS. LISRS also has an affinity to the HIV protein GAG. And GAG is one of those proteins that has many functions for HIV, but it's essential. So LISRS is able to kind of pull everything together. It brings in the GAG, it brings in tRNA lyse, and we suspect that LISRS also is able to interact with the HIV genome. So it kind of pulls everything together so that it can be packaged into virions. So the idea with this project is we can find a molecule that binds to LISRS in such a way that it's not able to bind to the HIV protein GAG. Well, then we've we've disrupted the replication, we've disrupted the assembly phase, and that might be a sort of treatment down the road. So that was the initial reasoning behind picking that protein. Yeah.
So when you inhibit that protein, what does it do to the host cell?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because we want it to inhibit the protein's interaction with HIV. We don't want to inhibit the protein's interaction with tRNA, because acylation is an essential process in the cell. And there's really no way for us to pick, using the selection technique I'm using right now, for us to pick only those molecules that inhibit the interaction. So what we're trying to do is we're going to try and pick maybe 100 molecules that bind to the protein really well. And that's where the sequencing and isolating the individual RNA molecules comes in. So after we enrich the pool and we get 100 molecules back, we test every single one for their ability to inhibit the interaction between HIV and LISRS, as well as the potential for them to inhibit the interaction between LISRS and tRNA, which is something we don't want to do. So, I mean, we expect that out of 100, maybe 95 will not be good. They either won't inhibit the HIV interaction or they'll inhibit the tRNA interaction. But maybe 2 or 3 will inhibit one and not the other. So it's kind of just cross your fingers. Mm-hmm.
What motivated you to choose microbiology over other fields of science?
Yeah. And you know what? It was just kind of there wasn't any one thing in particular. Chemistry was too boring to me. You know, it didn't cut it. It didn't cut it. I didn't like messing with chemicals, doing chemical syntheses. It didn't seem all that interesting to me. I'm sure it's really interesting to a lot of my friends, but for me, not so much. Same thing with physics. Like, physics is cool and all, but it's too much math. But instead, biology, I mean, what you have in a cell is you have a mini factory. I mean, you have this little organism that's self-sustaining, self-replicating, and it can do so many different things. And with microbiology, you study the cell and you can manipulate the cell. You can get it to do what you want it to do. So we can create medicine from a cell. We can create like penicillin. We can create fuel for our cars, for heating. So I don't know, microbiology just seemed like a really interesting, it was full of a lot of opportunities. So, yeah. I don't have like a really good answer for that. It was just something that attracted me. I just kind of had a pull towards microbiology. I watched I Am Legend too, and that helped out. Yeah.
Did you include in your college applications that you went to TVMSC, or did you just let them see it on your transcript?
Oh yeah. I think when I had an option to list more than one high school, I definitely added TVMSC. And then I'd try and add a description any way I could about what TVMSC was about. So anywhere it could, I did mention TVMSC because it's more than just another high school. You know, it's a magnet school that focuses on math and science, and that's something that's going to be really beneficial for you in college, and colleges understand that. So wherever you can, I recommend emphasizing it on your application.
Did you apply to Stanford?
I did. I did not get in. I think I got waitlisted or flat out rejected. I can't remember what.
We've never had a TVMSC student go to Stanford.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's the only.
Surprises me.
We're Harvard, Browns, Princeton, MIT, Ohio State.
Ohio State.
It's all the major schools.
Yeah.
It's not Stanford.
So why was it that blue though?
That's a good question. No, I just wanted to do something different.
So you went to Centennial, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So did you get math from Bartlett?
Oh, Bartlett. Yeah, I mean, if you go to Centennial, math from Bartlett, that's a solid choice. Have you had him?
We're having him sophomore still. So.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, he's a good teacher. Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of students are probably surprised to hear you say that the grades you get in high school are maybe not the ultimate thing for
Yeah.
getting into college. How did you conclude that? How could?
Well,
We're hearing that from a lot of the college recruiters, that they don't care necessarily that you have a 4.0. They want to see that you've had an opportunity to really challenge yourself along the way.
exactly.
Having a sprinkling of B's is not the dead end.
Right. So like a number doesn't tell the college very much anything. I mean, you could go to your high school and get a 4.0 taking very simple classes, or you could come to TVMSC, learn a lot more, but maybe not get that same number. And colleges are aware of that. You know, they're wise to the game, so they understand that there's more to you than the number, and that really shines through on your personal statement. So if I can give you a recommendation for getting into college, start working on your writing. If you're in 10th grade, start writing now. Start writing a journal, just whatever you want, but do more than what you would do for class. Because it's those writing skills, that ability to tell the college what you've learned in high school and what you want to do in the future that's going to get you into there, not so much the GPA.
They're going to have to.
All right, excellent.
Let's give 'em a hand.
Thank you guys. Yeah!